I'm with Dave Semensky, a longtime Autumn Wind member, and we are celebrating the 16th edition of the Autumn Wind Championship game, otherwise known as the Ooper Bowl. I'm with Dave Semensky, a longtime Autumn Wind member, and we are celebrating the 16th edition of the. Going to get rid of that real quick.
Yeah, a little feedback.
Little feedback there. That's happened every time I've done that. I have it on the wrong screen. So anyway, back to it. Dave Semensky and I are tonight. We're going to bring you the Autumn Wind Championship, and it features the 13-3 San Francisco 49ers, coached by Lawrence Green, and they will be taking on the 16-0 Seattle Seahawks. They are coached by Dennis Crowley. It is the first time in Autumn Wind League history, computer version of the 16 seasons, that we have had a 16-0 undefeated club. Dave was on talking to me a little bit beforehand, and we have a few minutes before the coaches are going to send us the number to connect. And so, Dave, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that you mentioned earlier, that this is not unprecedented in the history of Autumn Wind, which actually goes back to card and dice.
Yes, the league was really started by Jim Riley and his brothers, and it was, I'm thinking 1970, but I'm not exactly sure, right around that year. And the interesting thing about the history of the league is that there's a lot of players, I haven't counted up the number, but 7 or 8 that have been retained from the card and dice days that are still playing in Autumn Wind. And it's fascinating when you look at Dennis Crowley's season of 16-0, and the card and dice era, as I was telling you, there was only one 16-0 that I can recall, and I'm pretty sure I'm right, and that was Jim Riley himself.
Okay.
And the irony of that is that his perfect season was ruined when Paul Mankiewicz knocked him off in the playoffs.
Oh.
Jim has never forgotten that, and of course, neither has Paul. So this is going to be some unprecedented territory that Dennis Crowley moves in tonight, because he is now 18-0, moving for the big 19-0, but he's got a formidable opponent in Lawrence Green and those San Francisco 49ers.
They sure do. Now, are you in any other leagues with Dennis?
Yes. I play in Frozen Tundra and Spring Fever, and he's doing remarkable in those. He finished this Frozen Tundra, which Gary Nagata runs that league, Michael, and he's 15-1 and in the playoffs in that league. Okay. And then 2 years ago in Spring Fever, last year he finished 12-4 and lost in the first round of the playoffs. But the year before that, he won Spring Fever, and he was 14-2 in the regular season and ended up 17-2.
Wow, he is on a roll. He's in a lot of leagues that even you and I aren't involved in, and seems to be taking championships left and right. He certainly is on a roll. But that's not to take anything away from Lawrence Green tonight. These two teams have not played each other, and we'll talk a little bit more statistically here. But Lawrence has had a good run here to the playoffs so far. Last week, he was able to beat a juggernaut team, the St. Louis Rams, coached by Gary Nagata, who had pulled off 2 upsets on the road themselves, but came up short last week in Candlestick, 25-13. San Francisco had a bye in the wild card playoffs. Their previous game was against the Oakland Raiders, whom they defeated 30-22. Seattle has had an interesting road, again at 16-0. They sat out the wild card round. They had that bye. Their first round game was against the New Orleans Voodoo, which they won 7-3. They hosted New Orleans, who was, I believe, a 6 seed, maybe a 5 seed, but had an outstanding defense. Dennis's team allowed only about 10 points a game this year. The New Orleans Voodoo allowed 11 points a game.
1 second, Michael. I got a number for you, a game number.
Oh, we do? Okay.
Yeah, it's on the website, 28025.
Okay, let's see if we can get into this here.
28025.
I heard you say 28025, correct?
Correct. See if you can hook up with that.
Okay, looks like I'm in. Let's see.
Yeah, and I just posted it on the email also.
Just go send him a note and say that Dave and I are in broadcasting. Nobody has joined just yet, but I'm sure they'll be here in a little bit. So as we said, in the divisional playoffs, Seattle was able to squeak by New Orleans 7-3. And speaking of squeaking by, a very, very late comeback. In fact, it was within the last minute of the game that they were able to overcome the Chicago Bears, who had a nice year this year, a 1-15 team that turned it around and went 12-4. So nothing to be embarrassed about, but a tough loss for the Bears. And Seattle now advances with the one game left to achieve what no team has in autumn wind history, at least again in the computerized version, and that is to go 19-0, and it looks like we are already underway. So we'll give you a little bit of statistics as we move on through this game. Lawrence Green coaches the San Francisco 49ers, 13-3. They are the champions of the NFC, facing off against the 16-0 Dennis Crowley coached Seattle Seahawks, winners of the AFC. Seattle is looking for back-to-back autumn wind titles. Let me put that card image up, Dave.
Yep, go with an inside run to begin with.
And that is Jay Ajayi, who picks up 6 on the play, so it's 2nd and 4. Seattle boasts an excellent run defense and an excellent pass defense. And as you can see on the screen, there aren't very many. There's a lot of landmines on this field. Only 1-4 that I can see on the line and 1-4 at linebacker. That's Jay Ajayi again, and he picks up a first down on another 6-yard carry. Actually, that was his backup, Rex Burkhead. So that's the 1-2 combination for San Francisco, but do not be fooled. Jay Ajayi will get the overwhelming bulk of the carries tonight. He averaged a, shall we say, robust per carry average of 6.4 yards, 1,700 rush total for the season, and a 6.4 per carry average, an amazing number.
4 sets in there early, but he goes to Gronkowski.
He does, and that'll be a pickup of 8. That is Sam Bradford under center, an MVP season for Sam. 43 touchdown passes thrown against 13 interceptions, 62% completion percentage.
Interesting that Dennis is blitzing here on 2nd and 2. Give me the strategy there, Michael. What do you think he's doing?
I'm not really sure, to be quite honest with you, unless he's bringing him up there to stop a Ajayi.
All right, come on, Michael. I need your help.
Well, I'm wondering if maybe he's wanting to plug a hole for Ajayi. Let's see. The line.
So aggressive with those pass rushes, and I don't think Lawrence has very good pass blocking here to work with. So I think Dennis is going to try to take advantage of that and blitz on as many downs, even on short yardage. Mm-hmm. But that was an interesting call there.
Just kind of dangerous to leave that zone empty. Flare pass. This one's going over to Gronk, and he makes the catch on this one too. San Francisco with 3 receivers, 2 tight ends, and a wide receiver. That's Julio Jones to the left. That's Randall Cobb to the right. 3 players, Kelsey, Gronkowski, and Jones with 100 catches, more than 100 catches each, and more than 1,000 yards. No other team in autumn wind could boast that. And again, you have a strong running back, you have an outstanding quarterback, and 3 excellent targets. So it's no surprise that San Francisco had a monster year scoring points, 508 for the season, number 1 in the league. And they are butting heads with the Seattle Seahawks. Excellent run, excellent pass defense, only allowing 165 points per game. Do the math, people. That's just over 10 points a game. So something's got to give tonight. Absolutely.
Another blitz.
So in every game that I've seen San Francisco play so far, I've seen them just with a straight-up 2 tight end offense. And technically, this is a 2 tight end offense once again, but Gronkowski now is a blocking back in this formation.
Well, this could be 4-down territory.
I believe so too. So here comes a pass to Gronk. And that pass is complete. Defense called pass.
But he left an open zone there. He left the zone open.
I missed that. Sorry. Okay, so Gronkowski picks up 16.
6, which was a good call by Lawrence because Dennis left the 4 there, but he went to the 6 and it paid off.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes having that 6 is a little cat and mouse. You don't want to avoid it altogether, and sometimes you leave it blank. And there's a pass to Kelsey. his other strong tight end, and that is an 18-yard pickup. So Lawrence has been able to move this ball pretty much relatively at ease. Only 1 third down so far on this drive, and now he finds himself at the 8-yard line. The flat pass is out of play. Blocking back again, the same I formation. We're going to see those two tight ends pretty much for the entire game on the field. Here comes a pitch to Jay Ajayi. It's guessed wrong, and he is stopped just short of the goal at the 2-yard line. 2nd down and 2. Lawrence Green, 13-3, San Francisco 49ers, champions of the NFC. Facing off against Dennis Crowley and his AFC champion 16-0 Seattle Seahawks. But they're on the ropes here early. Here's a run for Ajayi, and he is keyed correctly by Dennis Crowley. So a loss of 1 for Jay Ajayi. 3rd down and 3. What do you see here, Dave?
I think he's going to run it again.
Okay. He does have a strong offensive line.
It's dangerous with that blitz coming to pass here.
Okay. And he does bring it again. Here it is. Jay Ajayi. It's guessed wrong, but it's on the defensive card. One linebacker was in the zone. So bad break for Lawrence. But it looks like he'll be the first to put some points on the board.
Yeah, he just missed the block there.
And that is Matt Bryant. So San Francisco has gone out to the early lead here against the Seahawks.
Spell it on.
Oh, hey now.
025.
Oh God, the legendary Tom Cook is here.
My gosh. We have been joined by the legendary Keith Jackson of Stratomatic.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Oh my gosh. How are you?
I'm good.
We didn't think you could make it, Tom.
Well, I wasn't planning on making it, but I unintentionally fell asleep earlier, and I was a little awake, and then I saw Lawrence's stuff, and I said, "Let me watch the game. I don't want to take Michael's thunder away here. You guys do a good job calling the games."
No, we love your insight.
We sure would. Oh my gosh, I'm really thrilled that you came on board. This is going to be great. Thank you so much for coming on board.
And you're one of the Dennis Crowley experts, Tom.
Well, that's true. I probably have watched more games of Dennis's. Now, other guys, I may have played him more.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've played him a lot, but also in the last couple of years, I've called so many of his games in leagues I have nothing to do with. He'll text me and say, "Hey, can you call this playoff game?" And sometimes I can, sometimes I can't.
And you talk to him a lot too. And I know you pick brains, so this will be great.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we're good friends. So we'll go, Michael. I don't want to step on your play-by-play. So just
Oh, that's quite all right. 2nd down and 2. Ball at the Seattle 29. Dennis Crowley and the Seahawks are trailing early in this one. It's 3-0 San Francisco. We're just midway here in the first quarter. Dave Szymanski's on with us here, and so is Tom Cook. And both of us are burning the midnight oil on this side of the coast. But this is a game that we just want to see. Oh, mercy! An interception.
That is dramatic at this stage.
That was a flat pass, correct double team. Dennis throwing to his left, and Lawrence double team Greg Olsen correctly. And of course, the flat pass double team huge, and this is in scoring territory.
Mm-hmm. Already in scoring territory. You're absolutely right. So San Francisco already on top 3-0. And looking to do some more damage here. Ball at the Seahawks 26.
Lawrence is known for his offensive teams, and his team's a 3-4 team that was average. But you see the offense, you got Sam Bradford, Jay Ajayi, these other good weapons, Travis Kelce and Rob Gronkowski.
Mm-hmm. Curl pass to Julio. That's a pickup of 10 and a first down. As we said, San Francisco, the only team to have 3 players not only with 100 receptions each, but also 1,000 yards each. Unprecedented this year in the league. Bradford, 43 touchdown passes. Go ahead, Tom. Sorry.
You keep going with the play-by-play, Michael, and just like Dave, I'll just chime in every now and then.
Sure. I do have one question as a novice, even though I'm broadcasting this game. I still do have one question.
Sure.
Every game that I saw the Niners play so far has had a 2 tight end set. Now he's going with a blocking back set. Any advantage to that?
Yeah. Well, let's see what happens at the end of this drive first, and I'll be happy to illuminate that situation for you.
Thank you.
I was looking past no men. And Dennis is excellent, I believe.
He is correct. Off tackle run to Jay Ajayi. Guessed wrong. Ajayi is stopped at the 3, so that's a pickup of 3 on their last drive. They were stymied inside the 8-yard line. and they had to settle for a Matt Bryant field goal.
The huge sequence here that Lawrence can go up 10-0. If he only goes up 6-0 after these early breaks against a team like Dennis and a coach like Dennis, you know he's going to feel like he's going to regret it later on.
Oh yeah, 6-0 would be just almost disaster. You'd hate to think about that.
Touchdown versus field goals, but excellent, and Dennis a great coach.
Here comes a pass to Julio Jones. Only 3 men in the zone. It's guess right. Fumble. Oh, look at that.
Fumble snap.
Covered. My goodness.
Oh, dear.
7.3. A 7.3 fumble snap. At first, I thought maybe it was a sack because Dennis was blitzing, but it was not a sack. It was a fumbled snap. It's a 7.3 out of 1,000. You run about 60 plays. You got about 42% chance of that happening during the game. But a huge turnabout there for Dennis.
Yes, it is.
When you speak, the graphics go off and your picture comes on. Is there any way of stopping?
Yeah, Michael, you need to present your own screen. Do you want to do that, Michael?
I did full screen presentation on my side. Is there something I need to do also on mine as well?
Lock yourself. Click on your own picture.
Okay. And
then that should be good. Is it good now, Dave?
No, as soon as you speak, your picture comes out and the graphics go away.
Same thing when you speak. I'm seeing you now.
Okay, so that's I'm the technical knob or idiot here, so don't look for me for any technical help.
Yeah, click on your own thing in the lower right there, Michael.
Sure, there you go.
There we go. We should be now. I think it's working. Dave, okay. We're good now. Yeah, I think we're good now.
Am I off of now?
Yep, you're off.
Okay, good.
Sorry about that, Tom. I was present to everyone. I didn't hit that button correctly.
That's okay.
Big third and 4 at the 10-yard line. What's he going to do, Tom?
He wouldn't mind doing a wideback here against that nose tackle forward, Spencer Ware, depending on if Lawrence has been calling the run. He wouldn't mind throwing a look in because he thinks Lawrence might move that 6, or he's not going to be double. He's not going to put 2 men in there. He would not be opposed to a long pass either. There you go.
And he got it. Huge.
Yep. And correct me if I'm wrong, Tom. That's defense gets pass on that play, but because they're in the
3 wide formation, white die 1 is always guessed right of the running back's card. And if it's you have 3 wides or more and only 1 running back, 3 wides, 2 running backs, that does not take effect.
So he kind of caught a break actually on his own card.
Well, the best Eddie Royal, no men there, covered by 0. To be big on Lawrence's card, but incomplete. Russell.
Now, I've seen both of Seattle's playoff games, Dave. Both you and I have seen them as well. And he hasn't gone to the 3 wide set very often, but I think he's looking at that 0 and he's looking at that 4 in the free safety zone. And maybe he sees some vulnerability there. Of course, the trade-off, like Tom had said, is that, if he's is Spencer Ware's card, if that white die is a 1, you lose the value on that. I know that.
But that said, he has two 4s and a 0 in coverage.
So that's a
pick. Additionally, Dennis' run blocking is already pretty poor. So one of the other negatives, of course, to go into multiple wide formation, you lose 1 off of each of your run blocking, but Dennis feels he's going to miss all the run blocks anyway. And I think he likes, I don't know what Lawrence's other inside linebacker is. Maybe that guy's good. I think he likes
3rd and 2. Is he going to run again?
I don't think this. I don't think so this time.
Yeah, I think he's going to pass it.
If he does run, I think it's going to be end run because he thinks if Lawrence does get run, it'll be the inside. 5 minutes left to war. Spencer's correct double team though.
Oh, huge!
Nice call.
Oh, almost got it.
Nice call, Lawrence. Very good call, Lawrence. So Seattle, okay, just making sure because you never can tell about Dennis on 4th down, but smartly he's going to punt this one away. Knows he caught a break there inside of his own 5. Probably feels pretty good to be down only 3-0 so far.
Now, Lawrence, Michael, you're asking about the difference in formation for
2 tight end versus the blocking back, correct?
Yeah, really, it's just a matter. I mean, it really is a lot to Jay Ajayi on 1st and 10 gets wrong. Big truck in the first down for 12 yards. Really, since Gronkowski is the blocking back, you're better off Well, what he's doing is what Gronkowski covered by an outside linebacker 6 when he's the blocking back. When he goes 2 tight ends, Gronkowski covered by the 4 right linebacker. So he's going 2 tight ends who gets Gronk against that 4 instead of Gronk against that 6.
Okay.
Normally, if the guy is the same, you'd rather play the blocking back because you get an offensive onside end reading to your left, and you get a -1 off the defense's pass rush.
Mm-hmm.
But to get Gronk on that 4 and away from that 6, that's I guess why Lawrence is doing that at times, which makes a lot of sense.
Okay. All right. Thank you. That's great. Thank you for sharing that.
And also, Michael, the blocking back offense is a little bit better running than the 2 tight end offense.
Okay. Oh, and another fumble.
A fumble that looks like
and
it was Rex Burkhead.
Oh.
Yep.
Another fumble for Lawrence Green and the San Francisco 49ers. And now this time Seattle will set up in a little bit better shape at their own 42 as we've just now ended the first quarter. San Francisco is leading Seattle 3-0. San Francisco, unfortunately, has had 2 fumbles, both of them lost. Now let's see if Dennis can take advantage, and he does on the first play. That's a 16-yard run, off-tackle run for Spencer Ware, and for the first time in this game, they are now in Niner territory.
That was only a 6.3 fumble chance out of 1,000.
Oh, God, what a terrible break. Another bad break. So let's see what Lawrence can do. This is an average defense run, average defense pass. He's pushed the right button so far, though. Had a couple of correct double teams.
Long best fence where nobody there, covered by only a 4.
Ooh. Good
Pass
call.
ball incomplete.
Dennis will go up top. He likes to make people pay if they're double teaming a lot. He doesn't like to be too conservative, as we know.
Okay.
And from this neighborhood, he knows if he hits a long pass, it's a potential touchdown here at San Francisco 42.
Mm-hmm.
Dennis has got to feel very fortunate at this stage.
No doubt. And there's a pass to Golden Tate. That one's complete for 18 yards and a first down.
Dennis is not going to shy against throwing at that 6 because he doesn't want to make Lawrence too comfortable sliding that guy out to the linebacker 4s or bringing him up against the run. Mike, you're already able to keep up there with the play-by-play. What's up?
Oh, I just was looking at my iPad here just a moment ago. I wanted to take a look at something here real quick. I'll get back at it. All right.
We had a short pass wrong there for a 16-yard completion to Deshaun Jackson, and Dennis is down at the San Francisco 8.
Okay, Chris Thompson checks into the backfield here for the first time in the game. This is a full house set with Deshaun Jackson flanking to the left. That's Greg Olsen at tight end. Here comes a short pass to Rivera. It's going to be caught, and Seattle, just like that, has gone ahead 6-3 pending this extra point. So on the heels of another turnover from Lawrence Green and the San Francisco 49ers, Jay Ajayi's fumble leads to 6 points and now 7.
It was a Rex Burkhead actually with that fumble.
Oh, you're right. Burkhead on the first. Johnny. That's right. You're right. And that was a snap fumble on the other. Thank you.
But very tough for Lawrence. You know you're playing an undefeated team. It's the Super Bowl. You know it's Dennis Crowley, probably the best coach out there. He's got the excellent defense. So you get it working out for you, and then you go -2 on unlikely turnovers that have nothing to do with Dennis's defense, really.
Right.
So that it's very tough to deal with that when you're already facing a superior team.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So that's an incomplete pass to Kelsey. -2
trying to
on
pull.
the card. Go ahead, please.
When you're trying to pull up the upset, you usually cannot afford to be negative in turnovers.
That's a good point.
So this would be a nice comeback drive for him, no doubt. If he can put some points back on the board, he can erase those turnovers.
And there's Dennis blitzing on every down after first down.
It was a safety blitz there, 3 on a 13. It was a 1-64 sack. You had the linebackers coming, pumping up Geno Atkins there.
Mm-hmm. So Atkins with a fumble recovery and a big sack of 10 yards, and now it's 3rd and 20.
What do you guys call here if you're on offense when you know he's blitzing and you're 3rd and 20? Give me a play call, please.
Well, he's not showing blitz right here because I think he doesn't want to give him a lucky chance at the anything down the field. He's going to call before he can determine it.
Gronk short pass. That's what he goes for because on his card he's got plenty of 20s.
Great. He had the right call there because he's trying to hit Gronk's receiver carcass right and almost got the first down on a short pass.
Completion would have been a first down.
It's a nice deep kick of 60 yards, return 9. And Seattle once again will take over, this time with the lead, 7-3. Ball at their own 34. We have 11:24 to go here in the second quarter of this Autumn Wind Championship, also known as the Ooper Bowl. This is our 16th edition. Dennis Crowley, 16-0, looking for back-to-back title wins against Lawrence Green and his San Francisco 49ers, 13-3 this season, winners of the NFC.
I can tell you that. Go ahead. I can tell you that Dennis is feeling it now. You know, he knows he's up 7-3.
Oh, yeah.
He just up Lawrence 3 and out. He got the sack because Lawrence's pass block is not that good. You can see a lot of blitzing from Dennis the rest of the way. And he's feeling it now. He knows that if he gets this drive going, he can take over this game.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be tough to put some points on the board. Now you know, we say that.
Well, because again to Eddie Royal, to back-to-back.
And that one's going to be incomplete. Eddie Royal, I mean, that matchup looks nice. You're facing a 0. You're facing a 4 back there. But his guessed right card, ugh.
Dreadful. It's only, 3 is the only completion. 2-6 is his card. But Dennis will throw it because he's covered by the 0. He's trying to hit the defender X long gain or something in Russell's card. Right. But, it's not as good as it looks off the bat.
Mm-hmm. And looking for Eddie Royal again. And there's your 3 and out. So Lawrence Green is able to hold serve. He's going to get the ball back, probably in relatively good field position here. That's a 49-yard punt. Let's see what happens here on the return.
And, Michael, we've seen Lawrence leave Eddie Royal in single coverage repeatedly and double team other guys, probably saying, hey, you want to throw to that guy with that receiver card, go ahead. He's risking the defender X long game, but it's maybe not a terrible gamble. We'll see if Dennis makes him pay.
Yep.
But now Lawrence has the ball, of course.
Fingers crossed, of course, for no 8 and no 9. All right, here comes that pass to Gronkowski. He's correctly double-teamed, and another rush, a blitz, and a sack. So
that was Bobby Wagner, the middle linebacker, the middle, only a 2-1 and 8. Lawrence Lay is 1-7, which is at left tackle, and even worse, the rest of these guys are 2s and 3s and 4s. Things only 1-5 in there. Dennis has a decent pass rush, and the 4-3 gets a nice bump from 1 or 2 blitzes, and you see now 2nd and 17. He's not shying. He's throwing the safety blitz, and I would not be surprised if he comes with it again, or maybe doubles Julio.
Back to Gronk. But it's only going to be a pickup of 4 on the play, and it's now 3rd and 13.
But look at that. 5 units of long gain on the flat pass wrong. And it was wrong because the man covering Gronk was blitzing. So Lawrence trying to pick up something there, not showing to blitz again, knowing his offensive line is shaky in this matchup.
Mm-hmm. Dennis has to feel a little bit lucky on that play. So 3rd down and 13.
Dennis showing blitz again.
Dave, who's he throwing to?
Dan Warren special.
I think he goes to Cobb.
All right.
Doesn't want to be double teamed.
Cobb had the quiet year of these 4 receivers.
I think we see a look in or a flat here, as he knows Dennis is going to bring the house. He's looking for something on the defense. There you go.
It's the Julio.
He does, but it's on Bradford's card, which nets him only 7. So he'll have to turn this ball back over to Seattle. We're just closing in on midway here in the second quarter. Seattle leading 7-3. The story of this game so far is San Francisco with 2 fumbles, one of them inside of the Seattle 4.
That's only a 36-yard punt, the 9-yard return. So 27-yard net, and Dennis got in good position as zone 45 here.
So Lawrence, with his average run and average pass defense card so far, he's held his own.
Yeah, he's done nicely.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so this time with the 3 wide set, he's going with the 3-4.
3-4, yep. Dennis knows he can't double team anyone for a flat pass. As right away he throws flat to one of the 4s, who's covered by Eddie Royal.
6 white die roll
with a white die 6.
Mm-hmm. So he stays with that strategy for a grand total of 1 play, and back to the 3-3-5.
Where runs it here?
Yep.
He does, and he does. Oh, bad break, though. He only picks up 2 on the play, dancing between the raindrops of short gains on 6 and 8. So now it's 3rd and 1.
Dennis will run it almost as much as anybody, and he always has a very nice, nearly 50-50 balance
Wilson on a line buck here. Wilson on a line buck.
Okay. Dennis Crowley, 16-0. And Spencer Ware picks up that 1 yard for a first down. Dennis Crowley will become, if with a win today, will become the first in Autumn Wind League history. 16 years, of course, and we had a conversation a little bit earlier about this being the computerized version of this. There was another perfect season when they were in card and dice, and Dave will fill us on that here.
It was a perfect regular season, but not the whole shooting match.
Correct. There's a 4-yard run for Spencer Ware guessed right by the Niners.
That's 2 good guess right runs he's had with Ware.
That's right.
Yard, 4 yard. That's about all there is in that column.
Right. Ware, of course, is the workhorse back in the Stratomatic Ulster. Here comes a deep pass.
Pass to Royal.
He did. And he'll get nothing and like it. So now 3rd down and 6.
Double team him. I think Dennis might back to Royal here. What do you think, Tom?
This is where you have to know your opponent. Dennis is going to go for them 4th and short. He's going to try to break containment here. So a run or a flat pass is likely. But Dennis, knowing who he's playing, there you go. All he wants to do is break containment here and go for him 4th down. Yeah. And he gets the first down, which is also a possibility against that 4-4-4 defensive line.
Boy, though, that's an interesting call on 3rd down with that run. Again, you've got that vulnerability with that 3 wide set.
Yeah, but 5 out of 6, it's not going to hurt him. 5 and all he's trying to do is get at least 2 yards, so he can go for them 4th down and break containment. And there's a lot of things on that defensive call. They're going to yield him a first down.
Okay.
With a roll of 5 or 6, and he got it.
And he did. And that pass falls incomplete. That's a pass to Ware. He's the 2nd leading receiver for Seattle this year.
Back to Royal.
And now Dennis has played Lawrence so much that he also knows what Lawrence expects of Dennis. So maybe Lawrence just never guesses running those spots.
Maybe not.
That's a tough spot to call run as a defensive coach.
Mm-hmm. Off tackle run to Spencer Ware. He only picks up 1. Another bad break. Guessed wrong.
Just missed that plus 45 and 11.
Yes, he did.
Dennis has been looking for this postseason.
1,600 yards rushing for Spencer Ware, more than 600 through the air. 3rd down again. We're back to the 3 wide set.
It'll be 2-10 if Dennis misses it. He might run to make sure he doesn't lose the variable. There you go. And also a double box in play. He hits a double box.
Oh, my. And Lawrence guessed run.
And he guessed run. My goodness.
Oh, wow.
What a nice call, Lawrence. That's a great call.
Yeah.
But where was his free safety? I think you put him in run. Dennis not running outside. If you put him in linebacker there, he would have had the no first down.
That's right.
Wow. Yeah.
So Seattle's moving ahead, and there you go. Spencer Ware up the middle for a touchdown, and now Seattle has taken a 2-score lead, up 13-3, looking to make it 14 on the kick by Nick Foles, and it is good.
Lawrence may have been expecting an M-run Russell Wilson, but you're thinking then about Russell Wilson from years past. This is not a really good M-run Russell Wilson card, and Dennis doesn't do it that often with this card the way he has in the past years when Russell's had much better rushing cards. This was the card where he had the knee injury and was limping around the first half of the NFL season.
Okay. So needless to say, this is a big drive for San Francisco.
Putting that free safety and run instead of linebacker cost him give up a touchdown instead of a field goal there. A tough. It's unfortunate.
Jai picks up 6 on that play. He's able to get out of bounds, preserving timeouts. San Francisco has all 3 of their timeouts. Ball at their 31. This team can move the ball, no question. And they would really like to put some points on the board before the half.
What they would really like to do is get points with running probably 2.5 minutes off the clock, too. Not give Dennis another shot.
That's right. Jai picks up 5 on that play. So that's a first down. And San Francisco likes to go with, looks like the hurry up. So it's 2:24 on a running clock here in the second quarter. San Francisco trails 14-3 in this Super Bowl, the 16th edition of the Autumn Wind Championship. There's a crossing pattern to Gronkowski, And that pass falls incomplete.
Showing the blitz again. A lot of people would say I'm up 14-3. I'm excellent. Let me stand around. Dennis is aggressive. He knows Lawrence can't really pass block against him too well. And he likes the excellent cards. He's going to maybe, and he's got 5s and 6s back there. He's going to maybe give up. Oh, nice call.
I was going to say I'd run a draw here. And he got a bad roll.
Got a bad roll. But that's why you build an excellent defense, right?
Oh, those things are so tough.
Yeah. Do you have any opinions on that, Tom?
Let me check with Mark Lepage first. I'll get back to
you. I'm sorry. I couldn't resist.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, we'll save this for the bonus features of the DVD. All right. Oh, there's an incomplete pass. Guessed right. It's now 4th and 7, and San Francisco is going to have to turn this one over. There's a monster kick of 63 yards. So he's going to be able to flip the field. Dennis will take over at his own 20. He does have all 3 timeouts remaining in 1:37.
You know, Dave, I actually don't mind the excellent. I just want people to admit that, it's very tough and it creates unrealistic stats. That's all.
No, and you make an excellent point there because the double up on the ratings, and it's just stifling. And you backed up your opinion with some statistical analysis, which I thought was pretty fascinating and instructive.
Thanks. I could have been a little more magnanimous, though.
That wouldn't be you.
Keep waiting for Larry to throw me out of the league. We'll see what happens.
I'll be right there with you then in protest.
No. I misbehaved. I shouldn't be riding that way and provoking another coach. 2nd and 7, flat pass left to Greg Olsen, double teamed.
Nice call. So 3rd and 7 here. Both teams have all 3 of their timeouts. Seattle, they still have to convert this. Certainly they want to move the clock a little bit. I don't think they're more interested in not giving the ball back to San Francisco. So this is a kind of a big call. San Francisco has the weapons to move the ball down the field relatively quickly.
Ooh, Lawrence calls run. Long pass rolling Eddie Royal. Come by the 0. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, and there it is.
Time
after time going to that same play, and this time it pays off. That is a huge pickup. Connection for 64 yards to Eddie Royal from Russell Wilson. And Seattle, again, is in business at the San Francisco 13. 45 seconds remaining. All 3 of their timeouts remaining as well. So San Francisco certainly is up against it at this point.
Lawrence has got a double team Royals here somewhere.
Well, that time, Dave, he called run. It was 3rd and 7. He was thinking Dennis might just run it and try to make you burn a timeout. But I think in that case, you got to call a pass. And there's a situation. There's a time and place for everything.
Well, you got to show that's a double team of Royal at least once. I don't think he's double.
Yes.
He's not even showing them.
Yeah, and Dennis has thrown it to him probably at least about 8 times since I've been on.
And he'll keep doing it. And you got to keep doing it if you're not going to double team.
Where he snatched before he gets out of bounds, he does get the first down. That'll put the ball at the Niners 3, and Seattle will call a timeout here. 30 seconds to go. Full house backfield.
Thompson.
Chris Thompson. Let's see if he goes with him. Nope, he's gone to Olsen, and that pass is good. And Seattle has now taken a 20-3 lead over the Niners with just 15 seconds to play here in the first half. Nice call from Dennis. Greg Olsen, his top target for the season. He does not disappoint. 21-3. And San Francisco is looking like there's a lot of trouble here, that's for sure. They're going to hope they can regroup here in the second half. 15 seconds to go. Ball at their own 25.
I believe Dennis did not give up more than 20 points in any regular season game. And I think his worst outing defensively was against Luke in the conference championship game. And Dennis already has 21 points. So Lawrence has got
22 points. That's it. 22 points to Hamilton. And then last week to Chicago in that playoff game, 24.
Okay, so he did do it twice. Okay.
It's close. Yeah. There was 20, 22, and 24, basically 3 times this season. But believe me, there's all sorts of 0s and 3s and 7s there, too. There's a deep pass to Julio Jones. The pass falls incomplete. That leaves one more tick on the clock here in the first half. Dennis Crowley is 16-0. Seattle Seahawks now 18-0 with these 2 playoff wins, facing off against 13-3, now 15-3. Lawrence Green, head coach of the San Francisco 49ers. This will be the last play of the half. Another fly to Julio Jones, and that's going to be picked off. So let's see if Seattle can make a return of it. They do not. And we have reached the half. Let's see if they take a little moment. Lawrence, good half. That's good sportsmanship.
Lawrence with the obligatory good half, followed immediately by ready question mark as he's feeling disgusted. Just wants to get the game over with.
So he's not the only one.
All of Mike can see him, Tom.
Well, Lawrence and I are friendly as well, so you know.
Yeah,
and Dennis gets the ball.
I think he took a page out of my playbook there. I had plenty of those games where I was down by 20. Good half. Let's roll.
That's you got to type in OGH. It's obligatory good half.
Okay.
I refuse to say good half, so don't ever expect it from me.
Okay. I have also accidentally hit the kick button down 20, and that shows that I'm not a very good sport, but it was accidental.
You actually hit the what button?
I hit the kick button before saying anything about the half when I was down by 20, so that totally made me look like a poor sport, but it was an accident. Wink, wink. It was a total accident.
Back there.
The one that I almost never use is good call. Because well, there's another one past the Royal.
And guess what? He double teamed him.
He sure did. That time, Dave.
All right.
Let's commemorate the occasion.
Yes. Let's mark that.
Hey, but this is big now. 3rd and 10. Turn him over real quick. Get that ball back. Let's see what happens. I mean, San Francisco's had a good chance to move the ball on a couple of these drives. They've just got caught basically at the 5, settled for a field goal, caught at the 4 with a fumble, and then fumbled at the 42. This team can score, no doubt. Let's see if Lawrence can regroup here in the second half. That's not a very good kick, but it's not going to be returned. So they'll take over with good field position, ball at the 35. We're just a couple of minutes underway here in the second half of this Autumn Wind Championship game. Seattle up 21-3 over San Francisco. Seattle looking for back-to-back titles in Autumn Wind. And there's
good for Dennis. He gave a run call there on 1st and 10. Dennis doesn't like to call run very much, particularly with a huge lead and excellent. He knows the job. He's got the big plays on his card. Mm-hmm. Just from that run call, might make Lawrence a little concerned about trying to run the ball for a while. Just in the psychological sense. And then decide on throwing it to his guest Strauss blitz. There you go.
Oh my!
My goodness gracious! A
sack and a fumble, Michael. I don't know if you missed it there.
No, I was there. Your communication was a little dragged, and I waited for the sentence to end. But that's Von Miller with the fumble.
It was 2nd and 15, and Dennis
brought the heat, and with the sack and Von Miller's fumble recovery, and now Seattle is again in business. Ball at the Niners 22, already up 21-3. Back with that 3 wide set that we've seen pretty much for the entire game. There's Russell Wilson on that must-run card, which Tom had said earlier. This is not the same old Russell Wilson. A gimpy knee shows that his must-run column is pretty just average, actually. He picks up 4 on that play, so it's now 2nd down and 6. That's 4 turnovers now for San Francisco, although one of them was an interception just before the half. Here's a curl pass. This time it's complete to Deshaun Jackson, a pickup of 13. And Seattle is on the march here, already up 21-3. Ball at the San Francisco 5. We're just 5 minutes here in the second quarter, and Seattle is just about ready to close the door on a San Francisco comeback. A score here could basically, I would say end it, but it'd take a tough road to get back. Here's a pass to Rawls out of the backfield, and it's caught for a touchdown. And Seattle is now up 27-3, and the route I hate to say it that way. That's not a nice way to say it, but the route is on. That kick is good. It's now 28-3. Seattle over San Francisco. And Lawrence Green has to come up with about a perfect second half, not only offensively, but also defensively as well, which is going to be very complicated considering he's got an average defense, both run and pass. This is going to have to be an epic comeback. What's that?
I said, when's the draft?
We might be. All right. We may have some draft insight here.
Is my voice not coming in clearly right now, Mike? You said that earlier?
It's clear as a bell. It just skipped just a little bit. It was just a little blurry, and it was kind of delayed, and it's perfect now. Dave, you here?
Yeah, it's fine. It was just a couple of series back. It was a little garbled, Tom, but it's fine now.
And there's a deep pass to Gronkowski. Nobody in the zone, and that's a big pickup of 30 yards for Gronkowski, and they are, for the first time in this half, into Seattle territory. San Francisco, the number one scoring offense in the league this year, 508 points. The Seattle Seahawks defense, number one in the league, only 165 points allowed. There's a pass again to Gronkowski. That's a pickup of 17. 86 yards here for Gronkowski on 7 catches. San Francisco trying to score and score quick. They're down by 25. Here's a deep pass to Julio Jones. Defense double teams him, and that pass falls incomplete. So, Tom Cook, in 30 seconds or less, your thoughts on Mitch Trubisky?
I have to watch the video and review his ESPN total QBR rating and develop an opinion of Chicago's offensive coordinator.
That was less than 30 seconds.
I don't think much of him. I don't think he made a lot of good decisions this year. I wasn't impressed with him.
It's a pickup of 19 for Gronkowski. And I will tell you this, Tom, I know you watch tons and tons and tons of videos.
Hold on one second, Michael. We have a scoring opportunity here, so let's pay attention to what's on the field a minute.
Absolutely.
First and goal from the 3.
There's a slant pass to Kelsey, and guess what? San Francisco didn't take him very long to march down the field.
Now Lawrence might go for 2 here, cut it to a 17-point game, and suddenly we're back in business.
I believe he will do that, and he does, and he comes back out with that same high formation that we've seen him with through the game. What do you think, Dave? A run here?
Pass.
Okay.
What I tell you?
Both wrong.
Well, again, I would have called run, and look what happened. All right, 28-9. An onside kick, an early onside kick. Yeah,
I don't like that.
I don't either.
Because you were still down 3 scores technically, because 19 points, a field goal, 2 touchdowns, and 2 2-point conversions, and there's only 6:54. There's still 64 to go in the third quarter. You kick it deep and get a 3 and out. You come back for a score, and I'm in business.
Got Jackson.
Oh, nice call. Deshaun Jackson, pass falls incomplete. 2nd down and 10. San Francisco has to perfect their 3 and out skills here in this second half for them to have any shot to make this a game. Already trailing 28-9. Crowley looking for back-to-back autumn win championships.
Has that happened online, Dave?
I don't remember a back-to-back in the Dyson, but I could be wrong on that, but I don't remember anybody going back-to-back.
What about online?
Online, I think Ed Barrow has.
Okay. Asterisk from you guys. We'll deal with that some other time. 2nd and 7 for the Seahawks.
That's right. That's Chris Thompson in the backfield. He just had a 13-yard reception for a 1st down. 2nd down and 7 on a running clock. 5:24 here in the third quarter. Seattle leading 28-9. 3 wide set, which we've seen for just about the entire game. Here comes a down and out. This is a short pass to Chris Thompson, and that pass falls incomplete. So now it's 3rd and 7. So here we go, Lawrence. Got to get him off the field, and got to get him off the field right now.
Here's where this is a spot where Dennis sometimes runs it on 3rd and long, but he doesn't like to run it with Thompson because he can't run the linebacker very well, and he's not as good as right. Okay. But this is a normal, like he's in field goal. he's in no man's land. He likes to break and tame in no man's land.
Mm-hmm.
So he can go for a 4th down and less than 5, but we'll see.
Will he go to Royal?
No, I think it's Chris Thompson in a flat pass.
He does run the off tackle with Thompson. Okay.
Off tackle, and defense was double teaming, but that's inconsequential. So it's 4th down and 5, and I'm sure that Dennis is going to go for it here. Ball at the 36. I think I know Dennis well enough to say he's going to go for it.
Yeah, I think we all got this one. I got this one picture correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Lawrence, no. He's at 3-4 here.
4. Interesting.
He didn't want the 0 on Royal.
He's going to move that.
I think he was also worried about the line buck with the double box and all this and that, but
this is pretty much the game right here.
He's going to move that 0 over to the right. Nope, didn't. So here comes a short pass to Spencer Ware. It's guessed right, but on Russell Wilson's card, it's an 11. So actually, Dennis caught a break there. And again, the chains are moved. Mm-hmm. So that'll move the chains. Ball at the 25 for Seattle. 3:54 remaining here in the third quarter. Seattle comfortably ahead 28-9. There's a run for Chris Thompson. Doesn't pick up much, just 2. .318 to go. It's another run for Chris Thompson. Doesn't pick up much. Picks up 3. So now it's, again, another 3rd down. Take a look at that.
This time Lawrence goes nickel 3-3-5.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Lumber's wrong to Deshaun Jackson.
It's against wrong, and again, I bet he goes for it here. Nope. Kick.
No, not from the 20. It's a good field goal chance. Make it 31-9. Now Lawrence needs 3 touchdowns and a 2-point conversion.
All right. And 17 minutes to do it. So he's got to be perfect on both sides of the ball.
Dennis will kick high percentage field goals, particularly with a good lead.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps early in the game was 4th and 1, 4th and 2. If he thinks it's a team that's going to have a hard time shutting down, is going to be more aggressive going for first downs instead of kicking those field goals. Just based on my observation. This is not stuff Dennis and I really talk about, but just observation.
Okay. 10-yard pickup there for Travis Kelce. Here comes Rob Gronkowski, a pass, and there's a 24-yard pickup. He has a great guessed wrong card, especially
fumble
gains.
Oh, wide receiver fumble. Dennis recovers it.
Oh, probably.
Oh, Nelly.
Mercy.
Turn out the lights.
Poor Lawrence. I just
Miller down the field, hustling.
Second fumble recovery of the game.
So is that 5 turnovers for Lawrence?
That is correct. You are correct, sir.
Fat lady may not be singing, but she's warming up.
Yes, most certainly warming up. Chris Thompson run. That is a pickup of 3.
You know, you got to give kudos to Lawrence. Making the Autumn Win Super Bowl is a big deal. 30-team league, average defense. I know the offense was great, but he had a 13-3 season, made the Super Bowl. Excellent job. You know, and Lawrence was a guy. I've been playing with Lawrence. I've been playing with Lawrence for a long time. But like 5 or 6 years ago, Lawrence generally was losing a lot of games, but wasn't making the playoffs really in any leagues. So if he made the playoffs, 9-7 or 10-6 and lose. And then about maybe 2-3 years ago, he really had improved his coaching a lot, started having a lot of success and making the playoffs a lot more regularly. And then I remember him emailing me, I think last year, he made his first Super Bowl, which was in a different league, and he lost to Dennis. And now making this Super Bowl. So, he's come a long way, and I think he should be commended for that. And hopefully there'll be championships in his future.
Sure.
Or at least one. You want to get the one first, that's for sure.
And you look at his club here, he's got obviously Bradford under center, and you think, well, he's going to be on the move for a quarterback next year. He also has Matthew Stafford there as well.
That's correct.
Don't cry for him. He'll be fine.
I was screaming at Lawrence to trade Sam Bradford because he had Stafford, even though Stafford has a good card. But I don't think he would make the Super Bowl with that Stafford card, which is not that good. So
yeah, I was one of those people trying to make a deal for him. But now that I look back at it, not because I know that I'm not clairvoyant, not that I know he got hurt. My team is years from competing. What's the point in picking up a veteran quarterback like that when you know it's not going to make a difference?
Well, we didn't know for sure. I mean, Bradford's not that old, technically, going into this season. At this point, after having an injury again this year, I think at this point, I was questioning him before. You want to hear a funny story, Michael, on that, since it's 30'9", which is a good time for funny stories. That's because the kickoff touchback.
Yeah, help us.
Lawrence down 25 points now, 12-18 to go. So he needs a lot. Let's put it that way. He's 4 scores. So, yeah. And I don't see Abraham Lincoln in sight. So
we'll keep an eye on it. But
I got it, Tom. I got the joke.
Oh, I got it totally. That was beautiful.
That's right.
Well played.
But Dennis, Dennis and I spent a lot of time chatting on Slack as I send him, 9 consecutive lengthy paragraphs on one of my teams, and my approach with them. And then at the end, he types in "sounds good," but we were talking about autumn win stuff, and he's like we should we should broker a trade. He's like, Lawrence has got 2 quarterbacks. Michael needs a quarterback. We're both very friendly with Michael and compete with him. And compete with Michael. He's like, Michael could use Sam Bradford. And I said to him, this is before the NFL season started. I said to him, I want nothing to do with that. I said, you go ahead and broker trades if you want. I'm not going to broker a trade. I said, you be the one to explain to Michael why he has no first round pick next year when Sam Bradford breaks his leg again or whatever, And then, within 2 weeks, Bradford was out for the year. It was like, yeah, you're right. I probably shouldn't bother. And then, just a few weeks later, Bradford was done for the year. I don't want to talk a guy into making a trade. It's not even with me. Talk a guy into making a trade, and then the trade works out horribly for him.
Oh well, again, I could have made a crazy trade like that, but it's funny. Tom and I talk a lot about drafts and how to build teams, and sometimes I actually do listen to them. Other times I don't, and the repercussions online. Wow. I'm just saying
the repercussions come out in the season preview shows.
Yes, they do.
And the draft recap shows. One good example recently in SSFA.
Yeah, I only wait a year for those, right? And then I get to hear 7 minutes of how I don't listen. Hey, Dave Szymanski, tell us a little bit about this league. This is one of the longest established leagues, and it had its roots in card and dice.
Yes, it started with Jim Riley and his brother, and they played a variation of another game, and then they eventually segued on to Stratomatic. And once they went to Stratomatic, we started refining the rules. I joined the league along with Gary Nagata in 1978, and we really made some modifications because what we're seeing here in this game on the computer was what was on the table game, where the defense call didn't make much difference. It just had to do with the ratings, and we thought that a good call on the defensive cards should be we should create our own defensive cards, which we did. And over the years, we had a sophisticated rule book that is probably as sophisticated as any game you might want to see. It was perfected. We actually had rules meetings at a hotel that I used to get us a good deal on an Embassy Suites, and we'd have 2 days of rules discussions with everybody attending. It was pretty interesting. Wow. So we really refined it and made it a very sophisticated game, especially on the defense. You could play a man-to-man or a zone defense. It was really a wonderful game, we thought, and it neared perfection at the end. I think 2004 or 5 was the last face-to-face table dice league. Mm-hmm. And like I said, Jim Riley was the only 16-0 team I think that I can recall, unless Larry Davis's brother Alan had one. I'm not sure, but I know Jim Riley lost to Paul Mankiewicz in the playoffs, and that's been a bone of contention between the two of them ever since. So if you guys want to give Jim Riley a jab anytime, remind him of his 16-0 season that didn't end well.
Paul Mankiewicz, one of the great Tom Cook nicknames, half man, half Mankiewicz.
Oh, yes.
That's right.
I think it's a good time here to kind of give accolades to Dennis Crowley, because what he is doing now, not only in the terms of the absolute perfect record, which will end up 19-0, but last year winning it, he was 15-1 in the regular season, and ironically, the only team he lost to was Butch Sremick, who gave him his toughest game this year, 7-3, and gave him a tough game in the playoffs.
Sure did.
Dennis ended up 18-1 with a championship last year. He's likely to go 19-0 this year. He's 15-1 right now, presently in Frozen Tundra and in the playoffs there. 2 years ago, he won Spring Fever, going 14-0 in the regular season and 17-2 overall. So this has been a remarkable run for Dennis Crowley.
Mm-hmm.
He wins all the leagues all the time.
Now, he is in SOMIFA 28 as well. And I listened, Tommy did a great call the other day with his game. And he lost, and I honestly thought that YouTube was broken.
Something's wrong there.
Exactly. I kept hitting the computer, but the score stayed the same.
Well, the problem there is that I'm Dennis's general manager with that team. So I have his focus. So I have us focusing on the future, which Dennis does not want to hear about. Dennis says he wants to be okay with that, but I was focusing on the future. So naturally, the team only went to 12-3-1. If I would have given Dennis some more ammunition for the year, he probably would have gone 16-0 and we would win the Super Bowl. But since he has me as a GM, he had to suffer through a 12-3-1 season. So we'll see what happens next year.
Sure.
But Dave, Dennis is in a league that Michael is in, the SFFDL, I believe it is.
Mm-hmm.
The league's only been around like 12 or 13 years. I think Dennis has 7 of the championships.
Oh, really?
It's a 24 team, and he just lost this year, and he's lost 1 or 2 others. But I believe he's like 7-5 just in terms of winning a championship or not in like the 12 years of the league.
That's unconscious.
Yes,
that's just remarkable.
Well, a Stratomatic out of Mount Rushmore. Maybe we'll talk them into a Hall of Fame. They're so baseball focused there. But guys, this is the game. Come on.
I was proud of 10 straight years in the table game where I had 10 wins or more. And I made the playoffs 10 straight years.
I'd be proud of 1 year with 10 wins in this league.
I know, but that's nothing compared to what Dennis is doing. There's nothing comparative to what he's doing. Nothing.
Yeah, he's breaking the game. There's no doubt.
10 years of 10+ wins is pretty good, Dave.
Thank you.
So short there.
I thought so, but it's nothing compared to that. It's just
Dennis is definitely plays on a different level.
In fact, the only other perfect season I'm aware of in any of these leagues is Nathan Baylor in Frozen Tundra went 19-0 with a perfect season.
In the Oops family, you mean?
Yes, in the Oops family leagues.
Sure.
Frozen Tundra, Spring Fever, the other leagues.
I guess it would be a bad time to bring up that I defeated Dennis in the Super Bowl when he was undefeated 1 year in a different league.
No,
my team.
We've got to knock him down somehow, Tom. Come on.
Yeah, my team was 15. My team was 15-1, and his team was 16-0. We met in the Super Bowl.
Oh wow, no, that should be a real highlight for you. That's great.
It was 31-1 combined record. I was like, how often do you get a Super Bowl that way? So after the game, I pointed out they were both 18-1. He said we should play another one to break the tie. I said, I think I'm good there.
Bring that up next year's rules meeting.
Yeah. So, Michael, you've got the number 3 pick next year. Is that right?
I sure do.
Is that why you're inquiring about Mitchell Trubisky?
Well,
or was that just impromptu talk?
Well, you read me like a book, don't you? We'll see who falls through the cracks. It'll be interesting that both of the 2 top teams have terrible defenses, just awful defenses. One of them has an aging Phillip Rivers. The other has Jameis Winston. I would think that Deshaun Watson, clearly that's the sweepstakes. I don't think that Deshaun Watson is going to tumble out of those two. I would think that he's going to be the number one pick, and they'll probably trade. They'll probably trade Rivers, I would believe. But we'll see.
Tried to trade Rivers last year and couldn't find a taker. I think that was Paul Power in this league. I could be mistaking my leagues here. A year or two ago, I think he tried to trade Rivers and couldn't find a taker. Part of the problem with trading a quarterback in Autumn Win is that you cannot trade future first-round picks.
That's exactly right.
So it's really hard to find a deal where you really believe you're getting the type of value you want back for your quarterback, as we saw with the Drew Brees trade this year, where, Claude felt like it was time to rebuild and Brees was getting older, even though he's still playing well. So he wanted to move Brees. And, probably a lot of us thought he would have got a little more from Mr. Lepage.
As we just saw,
and actually Claude and I exchanged some emails on that. And Claude, pointed out, hey, look, you can't get only so much for the future because the guy can't give you his first round pick. As we reach the final minute of the game here, Dennis, about to go 19-0, undefeated season, and I'm talking about Phillip Rivers and trading first round picks.
Good call there because it was a correct double team.
Yes. Congratulations for that, Lawrence.
Yeah.
Or Dennis, whoever it was. So it is, Michael. Why don't you wrap it up? You've called these games, and we'll stay in the air, but, give your post-mortem there.
Oh, mercy. Okay, where do we begin? Probably 6 turnovers. How's that?
That's pretty decisive.
I'd say that's pretty astute, right?
That could have been costly.
Well, not just not just the turnover, but San Francisco had to play a nearly flawless game, and so to just pin it on the turnovers, I think that's not telling the entire story. But that first drive where they had to settle for 3 kind of created a mess, and then 2 consecutive turnovers. One cost them at least 3 or 7 points. The next actually led to the first touchdown that Seattle was able to score, and that's Rivera, their blocking back / tight end, that put them ahead 7-3. They never looked back after that. There's a Spencer Ware 12-yard run. There's an Olsen 3-yard catch. Along the way, the box score doesn't talk about all the turnovers that took place. Seattle, what do we see here? 2 for 11 for San Francisco on third down. Russell Wilson, just a pedestrian game. He really didn't need to put up big numbers today. 173 yards passing, 3 touchdowns against 1 interception. Look at that completion percentage, only 45%, but again, it doesn't matter. Sam Bradford, 62% completion percentage for the year, 43 touchdown passes. This time he comes up way short. 2 interceptions. Also, I believe a snap fumble that Tom had called. Jay Ajayi, monster season. That's how you stop San Francisco. You stop Jay Ajayi, and there are 3 losses this season. Jay Ajayi was not able to run for 100 in any of those 3 games. He pretty much ran wild in the other 13 games today. He's held to only 46 yards, 3.1 yards per carry. I believe it's Rex Burkhead actually that had that fumble. You're right. And Sam Bradford, and it's just in addition to his 2 interceptions, also two fumbles that he lost. Rob Gronkowski, I guess San Francisco star, 10 catches, 134 yards. But again, that's just window dressing, having to throw every single time. Dennis Crowley pretty much had this from wire to wire, and that's what an undefeated team does. And this is the perfect ending to a perfect season. 19-0 for Dennis Crowley. Congratulations to the Seattle Seahawks, back-to-back champions of Autumn Win, celebrating their 16th season. And again, congratulations to the NFC champion, Lawrence Green, who was able to win 15 contests this year. This is his fourth loss. I know this is a tough one for him, but he's going to be back next year. He's got a lot of weapons on this club, and he's certainly a very, very good coach and improving, just like Tom had said. So we're excited to see what he's going to do this year, and that'll pretty much wrap up. Dave, anything that you got on this?
That was a good wrap-up, Michael, and I think congratulations go to you for what you've done to help us broadcast these games. And, Tom, you've been kind of the forerunner of this, and I don't think anybody can match your stream of consciousness, but Michael's doing a pretty good impression.
Absolutely.
Hey, guys.
Hey, congratulations.
Congratulations,
Dennis. I think Michael's doing it. There we go. Dennis Crowley's on.
Howdy.
The party begins. The party begins, Dennis.
When's the parade?
Big question in everyone's mind.
Yes, sir.
When's the parade?
Oh, there's no parade. No parade.
Dennis,
Just
the big question. The big question.
What's the big question? Hello?
Tom will come back here just a second.
Just what? You're allowed to speak, Dennis.
Go ahead.
No, I didn't hear the big question. What is the big question?
Yeah, we can hear you now. You talking?
Yes. You can't hear me?
I can hear you.
I can hear him too. Tom.
No, never mind.
Okay, good.
No. The moment is lost.
Oh no, it's not.
I every time you get ready to ask me
And it's 19-0 back to back. You had a real tough one in the conference championship.
And two tough ones back to back in your conference championship, Dennis. I guess it's nice to have a sigh of relief when it comes to this contest to basically have a lead that was insurmountable come the second quarter. You got to feel pretty good about that.
I do. I came in here. I mean, I didn't spend a lot of time scouting. I think in the earlier matchups, I was overthinking it, trying to look at exactly what they do in which situations. So I purposely didn't look at any of that stuff tonight. I didn't look at Lawrence's offensive tendency report or nothing like that. I had done my scouting on the matchups, and I knew that if I hammered him with pass rush, if I took a page out of Dale Ripley's book, if I went 3 wide, I didn't think he'd be really ready for that kind of offensive attack. Dale showed you could do it with an inferior team or an inferior quarterback, a below average quarterback or average quarterback. Wilson's a little bit above average in this set. And Spencer Ware, if you only hit those numbers, 2 out of 3 times when it goes on the offensive dice, that's okay.
Right.
And it makes it's so tough to defend that. It's so tough to call run and get killed by the flat passes, and without the dump off, that's the only way to really move the ball in this rule set. Bombs, flats, runs.
I think it's clear. What we can all see right now is that all credit for your 19-0 season goes to Dale Ripley.
At least for the Super Bowl. I didn't run much 3 wide until the Super Bowl.
I have a question, Dennis.
Sir.
On the 3 wide. At what point, I think at some point you thought that he's not going to double team Royal, so you just decided to just wear him out until he double teamed him. Am I correct?
Yeah, again, that's why I looked at that matchup. Going 3 wide, I had 3 points of attack. Long to Deshaun Jackson, long to Spencer Ware, long to Eddie Royal, flats to everybody, Tate, Olsen, all those guys. So that's what I wanted to push. I wanted to push on those 3 matchups with a 4, a 0, and a 4 in coverage. And then that would get him away from calling run. I could run guessed wrong, hit some numbers. He has only 4 rated run defenders on the defensive line. So it was going to be run, flats, and go bomb. And I don't think I threw enough flat passes, but he did a really good job of double teaming me. I go to
Royal, he didn't.
But not on Royal, but I go to Olsen, he picks it off. That the start of that game, he comes right down the field, gets it inside the 10, almost gets a touchdown, settles for a field goal. I come back, he picks me off and gets the ball inside the 10 again. If it wasn't for a snap fumble, I could have been down 10-0, possibly 14-0 if we would have cashed both of those in. So, but then in the end, he's the one that got undone by the fumbles.
But you had a key on that first.
Dennis, you
got him at the 2-yard line, and you keyed him and backed him up to the 3. Dennis, I think that was critical.
That was, yeah, and I that Jay Ajayi card, guess right, is amazing. So you can't just call run. You gotta either sell out for the run, blitz against the pass, or just call pass with 4-minute zone.
You knew from the 2 that he wasn't going to run the quarterback, so you went after Jahi.
Well, he could have. I mean, he could have definitely run a sneak with Bradford. That would have been something. Or that would have been something else to keep an eye on. But Tommy, you were going to ask something. We keep losing Tom's audio.
So Dennis, no one plays pretty. Oh yeah,
lost you again. I think.
and his audio is going out.
I'm having a little bit of trouble with his audio. Dennis, I don't know if you realize this or not, and I'm sure you don't look at these kind of things when you're doing the scouting, but I guess I didn't realize how aggressive you were as far as bringing that safety blitz up. I see the amount of sacks that you had for the year. Do you realize San Francisco had a grand total of 6 sacks allowed the entire season? Today they were sacked 4 times. Is this unusual for you to be this hyper aggressive bringing your free safety up, or is this something that you did for a lot of the year?
Unusual for me to blitz and bring the house? No, that's not unusual for me. I may not have done it in the regular season as much, but in this matchup, I had a great matchup on my defensive tackle, Geno Atkins, against his 3-rated pass blocker. I can't remember his name right now. And then I also had a good matchup with the high linebacker, whether that was Wagner or Von Miller against the center. So then I had also the asterisk matchup because he threw to those 3 main targets: Kelsey, Gronkowski, and Julio Jones. So if he throws to Gronkowski, that takes his 5 blocking back out of the scheme. So I knew that, on second and third downs, or second down for sure, second down and anything greater than 5 yards, I was going to blitz and bring a linebacker.
You blitzed on 2nd and 2, Dennis. I saw you.
I'd like to do that too. I mean, you just bring the heat. I had 3 good matchups. I had a matchup, like I said, I had the matchup against the asterisk rating. I had asterisk with a high linebacker with Von Miller's 12, a matchup with Geno Atkins, and even a matchup with Averill against his guy. There was only 2 good things for him. He had a 5 incognito against Legger Doozable, and then he had the 7 Morgan Moses against Brandon Graham on that side. Mm-hmm. So that I was worried about running up against the 7, and he hit it once. He hit the defender X or long gain when I was blitzing Von Miller, and it went for a 30-yard gain. But I'll take that because I knew that you get a sack in this rule set when you're like 2nd and 17 or 3rd and 18. Mm-hmm. That drives over. I mean, for the most part. He almost hit one. He almost hit a receiver reading on Gronk on like a 3rd and 20, right? And it went right in between his 21 and 24. But there wasn't much chance to pick that up.
Right. So, not to get too deep into the weeds here, but we were noticing. I've called a lot of his playoff. Well, I've called them all basically, and he came out with a 2 tight end set in every one of these games. Today, he decides to go to a blocking back, and Tom had explained that maybe the reason why he was doing that was that, now, correct me if I'm wrong, means that the left linebacker is going to pick him up, because I think that was the only 4 that you had in coverage. But is that a detriment now, that if he goes out for a pass that you lose the blocking back rating?
No, he did that because that he knew it. He had hoped that it would pin Von Miller back. Von Miller wouldn't be able to blitz as much because he would have coverage responsibility against Gronkowski.
Okay.
It was Von against Gronk.
Okay.
And there was times where I kept him back, especially when I was going to double team him, in order to make sure he didn't get his receiver readings. But once I got the lead, I can kind of let the dogs loose, and I didn't care if I left him uncovered because I was coming with a blitz and a lot of pressure. Mm-hmm. So that's the cat and mouse. You have strategies that you each try, and I just knew this was a good matchup for me, no matter what. Excellent against average. I didn't want to be complacent. His offense was good enough that if I didn't bring pressure, or at least make him rethink his strategies, then I would have a good chance to win. So, I wanted to make sure that I forced the issue on defense and went a little unconventional on offense.
Dave, let me ask him a quick question here. So what's it like to not have to ship the Autumn Win trophy back?
I think it's good for the league. It saves Larry a bunch of hassle and money. So, I didn't realize how heavy that thing is. Mm-hmm. I cannot imagine how much that thing costs to ship it across the country, let alone to another country like Canada. That the shipping charges on that must have been crazy.
That we're all blown away by this. Dave was mentioning the history of this league, and that it predates the computer game. And we were trying to find out a scenario in which a team had actually gone 16-0 in a regular season, and he counted one. Basically, that one team was able to do it, but was knocked off in the playoffs. So, I mean, you understand how difficult it is to come into the Super Bowl and take the prize, considering there's some very solid coaches here with a whole lot of experience. What's the more impressive thing here, back-to-back or 19-0?
Oh, that's for you guys to decide. I'm just happy I got it done. And what do you got there, Dave? Is that the old Super Bowl trophy?
This is the old one. This is the original one. I'm going to take a look at it. I haven't looked at it in a while, but it was last one by me, so it ended up in my home. And here we are, 1969. I'm looking at it right now.
Holy cow.
Jim Riley, 10-2. That's when they played 12 games. Then Craig Phillips, Jerry Riley, John Henry. The first time Paul Mankiewicz won it was 1973.
Nice.
And then
that was 3 years old, man.
Here's competition for you, Dennis. In 1979 and 1980, Paul Mankiewicz won 15-3, 14-4, and 1.
Well, why don't you go ahead and read the rest of the names? So kept going from 73. We'll go to 74, 75. Let's hear them.
Okay, here we go. 74 is Mike Cotto, and I don't know who Mike Cotto is. Jim Riley won in 75. In 76 was Doug Warwick. I knew him. 77, I did not like this man. Jim Bolton won. 1978, Jim Riley won again. And then 79 and 80 was Paul Mankiewicz. Dave Hunter wins in 1981. Steve Ambers, a good friend of mine, won in 1982. Trent Baylor, who's Nathan Baylor's father, he won in 1983. Russell Glass, who was kicked out of the league, he won in 1984. I saw him. I was there when he cheated Rick Byron's, and I mentioned something because I just couldn't let it go by. And Rick got mad at me because he didn't believe it. But we find out later that he indeed cheated us. So Russell Glass.
And I think he reinvented himself as an online player named Roussel Glaciano.
That's what that's exactly right. I think that's the same snake in the grass. Okay, then here's a guy in 1985 I know, Dave Semensky won.
Nice, congrats.
Hey, congrats.
And, you'll know that 1986 was Gary Nagata.
Nice.
1987 was Rick Byron's.
Nice.
1988 is Andy Goodstein. 1989 is Dave Semensky again. 1990 and 1991, Paul Mankiewicz. That's twice that he's done back-to-back. So you have something to shoot for, Dennis.
There you go.
1992, Dave Malt won.
Okay.
1993 and 94, Ed Barrow. 1995 was Andy Goodstein again. 1996, Larry Davis. Now here's the only guy that challenges you, because the next bunch are there's Andy Goodstein won in 97 and 98. My friend who died last year, Bob Schwartz, won in 1999. Andy Goodstein won again in 2000, and he won again in 2001. And then I see in 2002, Dave Semensky wins again, and I won in 2003 also. So I had back-to-backs myself. I didn't even realize that.
Nice. Congratulations.
That's fantastic.
And
so and in those leagues, that was all face-to-face cards and dice, right?
Face-to-face cards and dice. There's the trophy.
Sweet.
Top of it, bottom of it.
Now, let me ask you this. When you went so you were telling us about the game that you played previous. So when you went and made the transition from card to dice to the now modern computerized game, as modern as this could be, I guess, did you guys keep the rosters or just start it brand spanking new?
Well, what we did, the Spring Fever rosters are the rosters that are carryover. We were able to keep our rosters from the face-to-face Oops League in Spring Fever. So the Spring Fever people, Paul Mankiewicz, Dave Malt, Gary Nagata, Rick Byron's, Mike Ramos, I'm trying to think if I'm leaving anybody out. Butch might have been in there. I'm not sure, but those retain their rosters, and a lot of those guys then dropped out before. And I played right up to the end. I actually was the last face-to-face because everybody had converted over the computer. I did too, but I played one more season online on the table game. But I am the only team that's had the same roster carried over with the same name, the Philadelphia Eagles, from 1978 right through this Spring Fever season. It's been the same roster, continuous, with the same name, with the same coach, just transitioned from the table and dice to the computer game. So that's that Spring Fever roster of mine, which Dennis thinks I'm butchering right now. is the original roster I had from 1978.
Well, I'm going to petition Larry. Okay, I'm going to petition Larry that we take out one of those 6 all-time Hall of Fame coach names that man the division names, and we're going to make one of them the Szymanski division. If you have a team that's extended that many years, you deserve one of those 6.
Well, thank you. And it's just I'm just proud and pleased, and just to be a part of this league is really something special. And Larry Davis does such a phenomenal job of running this league, along with Paul, of course. Mm-hmm. It's a remarkable league. I mean, the logistics of 30 teams, and that's why you should be so proud, Dennis, because everybody knows this is the league of leagues to be champion of, and for you to do what you've done with a perfect season back to back is just remarkable. And
yeah. Well, you saw how close it was to not coming true. I mean, in the first playoff game, Butch pushed me to the limit, barely won that one. The second one, I needed a miracle touchdown pass at the end of the game to beat Luke and Chicago. And then this one, Tom asked a question earlier, and I'll answer it now because he typed it to me since he's having connection problems. But he says, you play in a lot of leagues. Hey, so bringing up your question now. See, Tom asked me about playing in a lot of leagues, a lot of games.
Since I'm here, how about if I ask you the question?
Well, let's see if you can get through it without cutting out your audio. Go for it.
Okay. Am I garbling right now?
No, perfect. Good. Go for it. Talk quick.
That's not like I talk quick, but I'm not brief. That's the problem. I give you a lot of volume with great rapidity, like a machine gun, I guess. But so Des, yeah, you play in a ton of leagues. You played a ton of games online. You probably play easily 150 games a year or more online. So you've seen like every situation. You're in a lot of big games. This game, first quarter, you're down 3-0. You're excellent. You're down 3-0 after he marched right down the field in the first time. He picks you off. He's down inside your 10-yard line. Are you thinking at that point at all, oh boy, this is going to be one of those games?
Yeah, no, I would not at all, because this turnover disparity, you know, the ability for this team to turn people over, especially if he's going to throw it, and he had 3 1,000-yard receivers. Let's not minimize Lawrence's accomplishments with that offense. I knew that I could get interceptions. I could get my own double team picks. I could just wear him down with my strategy. I still thought my offensive strategy would work. So no, I wasn't worried that this is one of those games. Of course, you know, maybe I would have been feeling a little bit different if suddenly he punches it in. Let's say he got 2 touchdowns. I'm down 14-0, and then I fumble the kickoff. Yeah, then it's like, oh my God, what's the things caving in? But I never give up. I don't care what the situation is. I'm going to keep fighting to the end, no matter what.
No,
and part of the process,
no defeatism.
Yeah, and part of the process to becoming a good coach is to be able to handle those emotional ups and downs. If you let it take you out of the game, you've already lost. So, you know, you got to stick with it, stick with your plan. And I just thought I had a bunch of good matchups in this one. But, you know, like I said, Lawrence's weak spots on the line matched up perfectly with my best pass rushers. So
what about now? What about if you do get some bad breaks in a game? Do you ever find it just really helpful towards your chance of victory if you just type in "wow" or "LOL" or "OMG"?
No, I that's like one of my pet peeves. Actually, if you want to get me off my game,
instead of being tough-minded, maybe just instead of being tough minded, maybe just type in something disparaging.
Yeah, the worst thing is like when you're. I had a coach.
Well, there you go, folks. Then it just revealed the chink in the armor.
Yeah, I had a coach that was beating me, and was like, he had his second snap fumble or the second, sack fumble of the game, and he's like, "Oh, I might as well just congratulate you now." He was still winning. He wound up beating me, but he had to whine and complain that second fumble, the third fumble that he lost, was gonna. That's it. That's game's over. Don't matter that I'm winning and it's 11 minutes to go.
It's funny.
Dennis,
it's funny.
Can I tell him real quick? I mentioned the game was kind of getting out of hand, and we were kind of being anecdotal at that point. And at the half, we were kind of looking at the conversation that each of you had, and I told him that I was down by 20 in a game and accidentally hit the kickoff button without giving the proverbial, good half and are you ready to go? I just literally pressed the kickoff, and it's like, oh godly, he's going to think I'm a total clown and a total loser. But that's the good thing about this league too. There's a lot of good sports. There's nobody really that in the 2 years that I've played 32 opponents now, and there's not one that I've played that I thought, oh geez, they're lousy, they're a bad loser, or took a poor loss against me, or rubbed it in my face, or anything like that. There's a lot of class acts in this league. Yeah,
absolutely. That's what makes it even more rewarding to win, is competing against all the great coaches, the great, these guys draft so well. I mean, who was it? I think it was Ed Carpenter or something had like posted his draft review, and then you look at the guys he got. It was like,
oh yeah,
it's like crazy. He picked up Trevor Williams in the 7th, and just like nailed pick after pick. Mm-hmm. So you're competing against the very best coaches, the very best GMs, and winning at once made me so happy last year. I wasn't really thinking about going back to back, and I certainly wasn't thinking about going undefeated, but it's happened, and I can't help it but feel really proud and really happy about it.
So when you so after winning last year and then building an excellent defense this year, which depends on where there was no thought in your mind of possibly winning another championship, is that what I'm led to believe?
At the beginning, before I did any trading, I thought, I don't have enough holes to really put a top-notch contender. But I decided, you saw my trades. I traded away all of my first 5, my first 8 draft picks, rounds 1 through 5 were all gone. And I sold out to try to defend the title. Now, I don't think I'm going to be able to do that next year. I'm going to have to take some people that are actually under 25 at some point, because these guys are all getting old. Of course, I still hope to make the playoffs again next year, but there's no way in hell I'm going undefeated again. That's for sure. Mm-hmm. Not with all the holes I'm going to have.
I'd like to think that just a small little measure here of a coach who has only had 7 wins in 2 seasons, I can take a little bit of solace in the fact that one of the trades we made was for Mike Adams, strong safety, and I'm very sure that that's what puts you over the top this season.
Yeah, Tom tells me it was the outside linebacker,
DeAndre Levy.
Yeah, DeAndre Levy.
You don't even know his name. He's
off the team now.
No longer in the league.
I'm
right.
delirious. No, but he that trade actually gave me excellent. I was good up until
DeAndre Levy is basically this kind of career was over with injury and age and stuff like that. He's an outside linebacker for when I was shopping him because big surprise that I was rebuilding, and nobody wanted him. I'm waiting for the guy, and then during the draft, it's like the 5th round, and I was like, boy, there's a punter I'd like to have, and then his message was like. He's like, hey, I'll give you this pick for Levy. I was like,
I needed him.
All right. It's like, getting Levy gave me an excellent. But he had his eye on other outside linebacker fours. So
I think I actually had excellent pass defense already.
That was key.
Yeah, I think I had already had excellent pass defense because I had a 4-0 named Sean Spence that I could have plugged in there. So I could have gone with good run and excellent pass, but it seems so silly not to make that last move. Mm-hmm. But look at this. Listen to this draft real quick. You saw it on the forum probably, but Ed Carpenter, picked Goff at 1-8, which, a lot of us were thinking, oh, Goff's going to be terrible. He's not even worth a top 10 first-round pick. He was great. He picked Noah Spence at 40th overall, Kenny Clark at 44th overall in the second, Yannick Ngakoue at 69th overall.
Great pick.
Cam Meredith at 82nd, who could bounce back. Matt Judon, who's going to be a good outside linebacker at 98th overall. Eric Swoop was kind of just a card. Kendall Fuller, who looks fantastic now, is going to start for KC after being the third DB for Washington. He looks like he has a bright future. Brandon Shell, David Onyemata, and then Trevor Williams, who's probably going to be a 6 next year in the 7th round. So that's just crazy. And, that's like I'm saying, if I had that kind of foresight back in August when we drafted, maybe I would have kept some of those picks. But I went ahead, sold out, filled all my holes, and we'll see what happens next year.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, again, what a performance. 19-0, this is how you put a cap on it. You're already up in the second half, and you just keep the pedal down and put this one away pretty early. Dennis, Dave, you got anything else to add?
I wanted to tag on something that Dennis said earlier about the emotional ups and downs of the game. On the table, thinking back to the table dice game, the dramatic emotional dynamics of that were really, really profound, because you'd be sitting across the table from the guy, and you got other games playing in the same room, and you hear guys groaning and yelling, and it was really you could take advantage of these emotional swings. And there was a guy in our league that all the guys that played in that league will remember. His name's Ray Perry, and Ray was just, talk about a negative thinker. And I took advantage of that, because I knew when something went wrong that he would really kind of shut down, and I'd go right for the jugular. And Larry and Paul used to post your records against everybody, and I never lost to Ray Perry. I was like 17-0 against Ray Perry, and it was just because I thought I had an emotional advantage on him, But it was so different that way. But I really believe, Dennis, you take advantage of that in the computer game, because you can sense on the other side of the computer what the emotional letdown periods are of people. And I saw you do that again tonight a couple of times with Lawrence.
Yeah, Lawrence is a great coach. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Like I said, there's not many that are going to get to a Super Bowl with an average defense. His offense is stacked, but he used it well. And even tonight, I put him in some big holes with the pass rush, but Gronkowski still got 10 catches. He moved down the field on a couple drives really easily. He just got unlucky with the turnovers. So I'm not saying that there are certain guys where you think, I got this guy's number, but anybody that that I've played in these playoffs or in the playoffs in some of the other leagues, if you're making it to the playoffs consistently, you're kind of past that. I don't think you're going to blow up you're not going to pull a Ray Perry. So I'm happy to get the win. I feel lucky to do so, and I really appreciate you guys staying up late to call the game, especially you, Michael, over there on the East Coast, and Tom, you as well.
No, no, I did.
Dennis.
It was completely unplanned on my part, Dennis. I happened to fall asleep. Around 8:15 p.m. for about an hour and 20 minutes, and I just wasn't ready to go to bed. And I was like, oh, yeah, Dennis is playing later. And I was like, oh, let me check it out.
Cool.
Yeah.
So Michael deserves more thanks for planning it.
No, Dave and I actually were doing the broadcast for the first couple of minutes, and then we hear another voice, and it's like it's Tom, and it's probably tantamount to being on Johnny Carson's show, and then Frank Sinatra comes through the curtain.
Exactly.
There you go. Perfect.
It's really nice.
Right,
This was a blast, and I'll tell you, it's 2:00, but I was excited for this. I was excited for this the entire week, and just really proud of both these coaches. And again, Lawrence Green, 13-3. That's an offensive juggernaut. All his 4 top players had great seasons this year. He'll probably build on the defense next year. And even though Sam Bradford's out, he has Matthew Stafford to plug that hole, so he'll be fine. We'll probably see him next year in those playoffs. But again, the night is about Dennis Crowley and his 19-0.
Well, thanks, guys. And whoever had Michael Rivera and Thomas Rawls in the parlay to score touchdowns tonight, they can cash their tickets now.
Yeah, you wrecked fantasy football.
I had a proposition on Rawls with Catch TV. That was a great one.
That's right.
So again, congratulations to Dennis Crowley, the first in Autumn Wind history to go the route, 19-0. He is also back-to-back champion. He is the juggernaut right now of Stratomatic football, no doubt, and a great guy, too, on top of that. It couldn't happen to a nicer guy. And again, congratulations to you, Lawrence. Way to make it all the way to these finals. And that'll put a wrap on the 16th season of Autumn Wind. Now we'll be waiting for those Stratomatic ratings to come out this summer, and we will have that draft in September. So we'll continue to tie with lots of other leagues. Dennis is in plenty of them, Dave, Tom, and myself. So Dave and Tom, thank you for joining me on this broadcast tonight. Dennis, again, congratulations to you. And this is going to wrap it up. This is the Autumn Wind Super Bowl. And again, your final score, the Seattle Seahawks 34, the San Francisco 49ers 9. Back-to-back wins for the Seattle Seahawks. And again, we thank you so much for joining us for this broadcast. For Michael, Dave, and Tom, Dennis, congratulations to you. And we'll see you next year.